Blood on white snow never lies. Tommy Johnson, 12. Heard the whimper before he saw her, a German shepherd, heavily pregnant, trapped in a Conibear bear trap. The metal jaws had crushed her right hind leg, bone gleaming through muscle. Frozen blood pooled beneath. But the injury wasn't what turned Tommy's stomach. It was the scars, cigarette burns dotting her fur, whip marks across her back, wounds screaming of prolonged cruelty. 24 hours earlier, Robert Miller had dragged this dog into his truck. "You let the fox kill my chickens." The 70-year-old veteran's boot connected with her swollen belly. He drove into Colorado wilderness, shoved her into February cold, and sped away. She'd run after the taillights, desperate. She'd stepped into Miller's illegal trap. Now Tommy knelt beside her. Hope's eyes met his, not pleading, but cold, empty, as if she'd already died once. Leave a like and share your thoughts in the comments, along with the city you're watching from now. Let's continue with the story. Tommy's scream tore through the frozen air. David and Emily Johnson crashed through the snow-laden pines, Sarah stumbling behind them. They stopped cold at the creek's edge. "Oh, God." Emily dropped to her knees beside the dog. Her hand hovered over Hope's distended belly, then touched 6 puppies thrashing inside, frantic kicks against her palm. David pulled out his phone. No signal. The canyon walls swallowed everything. "Sarah, run to the ridge. Get help. Now." His 16-year-old daughter took off, boots slipping on ice. Blood dripped from her hands as she clawed up the rocky slope. Phone held high like a torch. 200 feet up, one bar flickered to life. She dialed 911, gasping. "Colorado Wildlife Rescue, we need trapped dog pregnant, bleeding out." The dispatcher's voice crackled. "Location: Pine Creek Canyon, North Trail, mile marker 7. Medical status: leg crushed, pregnant, temperatures -8. She's..." Sarah looked down at her mother wrapping their winter coat around the shivering dog. "She's dying." A pause. Then, heavy bleeding plus hypothermia plus pregnancy equals 90 minutes maximum survival time. Helicopters 45 minutes out. Can you keep her warm? "We'll try." "Try harder. Those puppies are running out of oxygen." The line went dead. Sarah slid back down, skinning her knees. 45 minutes. Emily had already stripped to her thin wool sweater, her expensive down coat now wrapped around Hope. Her lips turned blue within minutes, but she didn't take it back. David frantically gathered deadfall, hands raw and bleeding as he snapped frozen branches. The lighter sparked once, twice, 10 times before catching. A small flame sputtered to life beside Hope's head. Tommy removed his gloves. With bare hands, he rubbed Hope's intact paw, trying to restore circulation. His fingers went numb, then white. Then he couldn't feel them at all. He didn't stop. Hope's eyes had glazed over. Her breathing slowed. "Mom, she's not moving." Emily leaned close to Hope's face and began singing. A lullaby from Tommy and Sarah's childhood, soft and wavering in the cold. Hope's ear twitched, 15 minutes gone. Hope's abdomen contracted violently. She whimpered the first sound she'd made. Blood gushed fresh from her mangled leg. "One of the puppies died," David said quietly, watching Hope's belly. "The stress." "Don't say that in front of her." Emily's voice was fierce. She stroked Hope's head. "You hold on. You hear me. Your babies need you to hold on." 30 minutes. Hope stopped shivering. Tommy knew from Boy Scouts that was worse than shaking. That meant the body was shutting down. He pressed his chest against Hope's side, sharing what little warmth his 12-year-old body could offer. "Please don't go. Please." Sarah fed sticks into the dying fire. The wind kept killing it. 40 minutes. Then a sound. Distant, rhythmic, helicopter blades. The noise grew louder, and Hope's eyes cracked open. She looked directly at Tommy with an expression that made him want to cry recognition, as if she understood he was trying to save her. The aircraft appeared over the ridge, massive and red, Colorado Wildlife Rescue emblazoned on its side. It couldn't land too many trees, too much rock. It hovered 20 feet up, downdraft sending snow into blinding spirals. A rope dropped. A woman in tactical gear descended, boots hitting the ground with precision. She was maybe late 30s. Blonde hair in a tight braid, a medical pack strapped across her chest. Jessica Parker, rescue lead. She knelt immediately, assessing. Her hands moved over Hope's body, professional and fast. She stopped at the scars on Hope's back. Her jaw tightened. Who did this to her? The question came out rough, almost a whisper. "We don't know," Emily said. "We just found her." Jessica's fingers traced a whip mark, and David noticed something. Her hand was shaking. Not from cold, from something else. She opened her pack, pulling out a syringe of morphine. "This'll help with the pain." Hope didn't flinch when the needle went in. She just watched Jessica's face, studying her, as if deciding whether this human could be trusted. Jessica began working on the trap. Conibear traps are designed for instant kills. The fact she's alive. She shook her head. She should have bled out hours ago. She was waiting. Tommy said suddenly. Everyone looked at him. For her babies, she was waiting to make sure they'd be okay first. Jessica's eyes met Hope's. Something passed between them, recognition. Maybe understanding. "I'm going to get you out," Jessica promised. "And then we're going to save your puppies." She positioned the trap release tool. On 3, 1. The metal jaws sprang open. Hope's leg was hamburger, shattered bone, severed tendons, muscle ground to paste. Jessica's face went pale. "We need to get her to Aspen Valley Emergency Vet. Now." She looked at her watch. She's got maybe 2 hours before septic shock kills her. And the puppy's gestational age looks like 58 days. One's already dead in utero. The others are in distress. She radioed the helicopter. "Patient secured. Critical condition. Alert, Dr. Martinez, we're coming in hot prep for emergency amputation and possible C-section." The radio crackled back. "Martinez says he needs a decision before he can prep. Save the mother or save the puppies. He can't guarantee both." Jessica looked at Emily. "You're going to have to choose. And you've got until we land." Emily's face drained of color. "How long is the flight?" 12 minutes. Hope's eyes found Emily's, and in them was something that broke her heart, a question, a plea. "What am I worth to you?" The helicopter touched down at Aspen Valley Emergency Vet Hospital with 8 minutes to spare. Dr. Richard Martinez was waiting. 55 years old with silver hair and hands that had saved hundreds of animals. He took one look at Hope's mangled leg, and his expression hardened. "Get her into trauma bay, too, now." They wheeled Hope inside on a gurney. The Johnson family tried to follow, but a nurse stopped them. "Family waiting room is down the hall." "We're not family," Emily protested. We just found her. Then you've done enough. The nurse's tone was kind but firm. Let us work. The doors swung shut. 15 minutes later, Dr. Martinez emerged. He wasn't wearing surgical scrubs yet. That was the first bad sign. We have a problem. He held an X-ray up to the fluorescent light. The leg is unsalvageable. Bones pulverized, main arteries severed, massive tissue death. If we don't amputate, gangrene will set in within hours. So, amputate, David said. It's not that simple. Martinez pulled up an ultrasound image on his tablet. She's carrying 6 puppies. Well, 5 now, one's already deceased in utero. The surgical shock from amputation will likely trigger premature labor or fetal distress. At 58 days gestation, they're 3 weeks early. Their lungs aren't fully developed. Emily felt the floor tilt beneath her. So what are you saying? I'm saying I need you to make a choice. Fast. We've got maybe 6 hours before septic shock becomes irreversible. He pulled up a chair, forcing them to sit. Option A. We prioritize the mother. Amputate the leg. Manage her pain. Let the deceased puppy pass naturally. The stress will almost certainly kill the other 5 in utero, but Hope has an 80% chance of survival. Sarah made a small sound in her throat. Option B. We perform an emergency C-section now. Try to save the puppies. But Hope is already in shock. She'll likely hemorrhage during surgery. We could save maybe 3 of the 5 puppies. But Hope's survival rate drops to 20%. There has to be another option, Emily said. Martinez hesitated. There is option C. We attempt both simultaneously amputation and C-section in the same surgery. I bring in my partner, Dr. Sarah Chen. She handles the puppies while I handle the amputation. What's the success rate? David asked. 5%. Maybe. Martinez took off his glasses, rubbed his eyes. I've never attempted this procedure on a pregnant dog. The blood loss alone, we'd need multiple transfusions. The anesthesia dosing is a nightmare, and even if Hope survives the surgery, the trauma could cause organ failure within 48 hours. And if it works? Tommy spoke for the first time since they'd arrived. Martinez looked at the boy. If it works, we save everyone. Mother and all 5 puppies. But probably we lose everyone, David said quietly. Probably. Emily stood, walked to the window, outside. Snow was falling again. She could see her reflection in the glass, a 43-year-old woman who looked a decade older in this light. 8 years ago, she'd been in a different hospital. Different choice. Same impossible odds. Her first husband before David. Before this life had been in the delivery room when the doctor asked the question, "Your wife is hemorrhaging. We can save her or the baby, not both. Choose." He'd chosen her. The baby died. Their marriage died 6 months later. Emily had lived with that ghost for years. The child who'd been sacrificed so she could survive. She'd spent years wondering if she'd been worth the trade. Now she was being asked to play God again. How long do I have to decide? Her voice sounded far away. 5 minutes, Martinez said. After that, sepsis makes the choice for us. David stood beside her. We have to think practically. The puppies might not survive anyway. I know. Hope is suffering right now. I know. Sarah joined them at the window. Mom, whatever you choose, it's not your fault. But it would be. That's how these choices worked. Emily closed her eyes, saw Hope's face in the snow. Those dead eyes. The scars. The evidence of prolonged torture. This dog had already survived one death sentence. Someone had beaten her, burned her, abandoned her pregnant in freezing wilderness. She'd dragged herself through snow with a crushed leg, hanging on because her babies needed her to hang on. She'd chosen her children over her own survival. Could Emily do less? She turned to Dr. Martinez. Option C. Emily, David started. Option C, she repeated, firmer. Save them all. The odds. I don't care about the odds. She pulled the consent forms toward her, grabbed a pen. Her hand shook as she signed. That dog chose to suffer for her babies. I'm choosing to give her the same chance she gave them. Martinez took the papers. He looked at her with something like respect. I'll do everything I can. I know you will. He disappeared through the double doors. The waiting room clock read 2:47 p.m. David pulled Emily close. Sarah sat beside Tommy, who'd curled into a ball on the industrial carpet, clutching Emily's blood-stained winter coat, the one that still smelled like hope. 3 p.m. A nurse brought coffee. No one drank it. 4 p.m. The fluorescent lights flickered. Emily counted each flicker. 143. 5 p.m. David paced, 18 steps from door to window to door, over and over. 5:30. Sarah's phone buzzed. She ignored it, then again, and again. Finally, she looked. Texts from friends. OMG, are you okay? I saw the news. Is it true? What news? Emily asked. Sarah opened her browser. The top story made her stomach drop. Breaking decorated veteran suspected in German Shepherd abuse case. Someone had leaked it. Hope's story was everywhere. 6 p.m. Footsteps in the hallway. Fast, running. A nurse burst through. We need more blood. The dog's type. Do you know anyone with a German Shepherd? We're losing her. Tommy jumped up. How much time? Minutes. Sarah was already on her phone, texting everyone she knew. There's a German Shepherd rescued 20 miles from here. No time for 20 miles, the nurse said, and ran back through the doors. 6:15. The waiting room lights seemed to dim. Or maybe that was Emily's vision blurring. 6:45. The surgery light above the door was still red. Still in progress. Then a sound from inside. Long and continuous. The flatline alarm. Tommy shot to his feet. No. No, no, no. The doors slammed open. Dr. Martinez stumbled out. His surgical gown was soaked in blood. His face was gray. His hands were shaking. He looked at Emily, opened his mouth. Nothing came out. Emily stood, walked toward him. Please, she whispered. Please just tell me. Martinez swayed on his feet. He grabbed the door frame for support. I'm sorry. His voice broke. I'm so sorry. Tommy screamed. The sound was inhuman, wrenched from somewhere deep and broken. I'm sorry, Martinez said again, tears now running down his face. For scaring you like that. The world stopped spinning. What? She's alive. They're all alive. He laughed, almost hysterical. I don't know how, but they're all alive. Hope and all 5 puppies. Emily's knees gave out. David caught her. How? She couldn't form words. How is that possible? Martinez shook his head slowly. I've been a veterinary surgeon for 30 years. I've never seen anything like this. She should have died on the table. We lost her twice, full cardiac arrest, and she came back. Both times. The moment we stabilized the puppies. Her heart started again. Like she was waiting, making sure they were okay before she'd let herself go. "Can we see her?" Tommy asked. "She's in recovery, still critical. But," Martinez smiled through his tears. "Yeah, you can see her." They followed him through the doors. The recovery room was warm, softly lit. Hope lay on a heated surgical table, breathing tube still in her throat. Her right hind leg was gone from the hip. Bandages covered the amputation site. Beside her, in a specialized incubator, 5 tiny German Shepherd puppies squirmed under heat lamps. 4 males, 1 female. The female was smallest and barely moving. "That one's touch and go," Martinez said quietly, pointing to the tiny female. "She's not nursing yet. The others are strong, but her..." Tommy moved closer to the incubator, pressed his hand against the glass. "Luna," he said. "Her name is Luna." The puppy's ear twitched at the sound. Emily approached Hope's table. The dog's eyes were closed, but her chest rose and fell steadily. "You did it?" Emily whispered. "You saved them." As if hearing her, Hope's eyes fluttered open. Unfocused from the anesthesia, but aware. She looked at Emily, and then at her puppies. Her tail barely wagged once. "She knows they're safe," Martinez said. "Animals always know." For the first time in 4 hours, Emily let herself breathe. Everything was going to be okay. It had to be. Behind them, through the recovery room window. Sarah's phone lit up on the waiting room chair. Notifications were exploding, hundreds of them. The story had gone viral, and with virality came attention. The kind of attention that destroys as much as it saves. Day 1. Hope opened her eyes at dawn. The breathing tube had been removed during the night. Martinez stood beside her, monitoring vitals, and when she tried to lift her head, he gently steadied her. "Easy, girl. You've been through hell." Hope's gaze immediately found the incubator. 5 puppies. She counted them somehow. Emily was certain the dog counted them, and only then did she relax back onto the heated pad. "She knows they're all there," Martinez said softly. "She won't rest until she sees them." "Can we bring them closer?" Emily asked. Martinez hesitated, then nodded. "Normally, I'd wait another day. But I think she needs this." They wheeled the incubator beside Hope's recovery bed. The moment the puppies were within reach, Hope stretched her neck, wincing from the effort, and touched her nose to the glass. The 4 male puppies squirmed toward her scent, the smallest one. Luna barely moved. Tommy had stayed the entire night, sleeping in a chair beside the recovery room window. He woke now, eyes red from exhaustion, and came to stand beside the incubator. "Luna's not eating," he said. It wasn't a question. "No," Martinez admitted. "We've been tube feeding her, but she's not responding well. Her body temperature keeps dropping." "Can I hold her?" "Tommy, she's very fragile." "Please." Martinez looked at Emily. She nodded. He opened the incubator, lifted Luna with practiced care, and placed her in Tommy's cupped hands. The puppy was no bigger than a potato, her eyes still sealed shut, her breathing shallow. Tommy sat down, cradling her against his chest. He didn't speak, didn't move, just held her. And slowly, over the next 20 minutes, Luna's breathing steadied, her body warmed against his. "I'll be damned," Martinez whispered. Hope watched from her bed, And if dogs could smile, Emily would have sworn she saw it. Day 2. Hope stood for the first time on 3 legs. She fell immediately, crashing onto her side with a yelp that made everyone in the room flinch. Sarah knelt beside her. "It's okay. Try again." Hope struggled upright, fell again, and again. On the 4th attempt, she stayed up for 5 seconds before toppling. "She needs time," Martinez said. "Losing a limb is traumatic. The phantom pain alone." But Hope was already trying again. 5th attempt, 10 seconds. 6th attempt, 15. By evening, she could stand for a full minute. "I've never seen determination like this," Martinez told Emily. "Most dogs take weeks to adapt to amputation. She's doing it in hours." That night, they brought the puppies to Hope's bed. She couldn't stand well enough to nurse them properly. So Martinez arranged her on her side, and the 4 male puppies latched on immediately. Luna didn't. She was too weak. Tommy picked her up, dipped his finger in formula, and touched it to her mouth. Once, twice. On the 3rd try, Luna's tiny tongue licked his finger. "That's it," Tommy whispered. "That's my girl." He stayed awake all night, feeding her every 2 hours. By morning, Luna had gained half an ounce. Day 3, the hospital was flooded with calls, media requests, donations. People wanted to help, to adopt the puppies, to meet Hope. Dr. Martinez had to hire security to keep reporters away. Jessica Parker arrived mid-morning, out of uniform. She carried coffee and pastries that no one had the appetite to eat. "How's she doing?" Jessica asked, looking through the recovery room window. "Better than she should be," Martinez said. "Medically speaking, she's a miracle." Jessica's jaw tightened. "Yeah. Well, she's earned one." She turned to Emily. "I want to talk to you about adoption." They moved to a quiet consultation room. Jessica sat across from the Johnson family, hands folded on the table. "I know you found her," Jessica began. "And I know you've been here every day. But I need to know, are you planning to keep her?" Emily exchanged glances with David. They hadn't discussed it explicitly, but the answer felt obvious. "Yes," Emily said. "If that's allowed, we want to adopt Hope and 2 of the puppies." "2?" Jessica asked. Tommy spoke up. "Max and Luna, the biggest and the smallest." Jessica nodded slowly. "That leaves 3 puppies. We thought maybe you'd want one." Sarah offered. Something flickered across Jessica's face. Pain, maybe, or memory. "I'll take 2, Jessica said quietly. "And I know of family good people, work in wildlife rehabilitation, who'd take the 3rd. So everyone gets a home," Emily said, relief flooding through her. "Everyone gets a home," Jessica confirmed. She pulled out adoption paperwork. "I'll handle the processing. It'll take about a week to finalize, but as far as I'm concerned, Hope is yours." They signed the forms. It felt momentous and simple all at once. Jessica gathered the papers, then paused at the door. "Can I see her alone?" Emily nodded. Jessica entered the recovery room and closed the door behind her. Through the window, the Johnsons watched as she knelt beside Hope's bed. She didn't touch the dog at first, just looked at her. And when she finally reached out, her hand was shaking. Hope turned her head, studied Jessica with those intelligent brown eyes, and then gently licked her palm. Jessica's shoulders started to shake. She was crying. After a long moment, she stood, wiped her eyes, and exited without a word. Is she okay? Sarah asked. Old wounds, Martinez said cryptically. Everyone has them. That evening, after visiting hours ended, Jessica sat in her truck in the parking lot. She pulled out her phone and stared at the photo she'd taken earlier, the fabric scrap from Hope's collar. The one that read, Miller. She'd run the name through databases. Found him in under an hour. Robert Miller, 70 years old. Pine Valley Ranch. 15 miles from where Hope was found. Purple Heart recipient, widower, decorated veteran who tortured pregnant dogs. Jessica's thumb hovered over her contacts. She scrolled to Sheriff Tom Brady, Aspen County, started typing, found him. Need to talk, evidence is solid. She stared at the message for a full minute, then deleted it. Typed something else instead, found the owner, Pine Valley Ranch. I'm handling it personally. Brady's response came immediately. Don't do anything stupid, Jess. Buy the book. Jessica didn't reply. She pulled out a second phone from her glove compartment, a burner, prepaid, untraceable. Opened the browser, searched for Miller's address, found photos of his property, his truck, his daily routine. She saved everything to a folder labeled Bella. Then she looked at the photo hanging from her rearview mirror. A German shepherd with kind eyes and a graying muzzle. Bella. Dead 5 years now. I couldn't save you, Jessica whispered to the photo. But I can save her. She started the engine and drove toward Pine Valley Ranch. In the hospital, Hope slept peacefully beside her puppies. Tommy dozed in his chair. Luna tucked inside his jacket for warmth. Emily held David's hand, watching her son with something like wonder. He'd barely spoken 3 words to anyone outside family for 3 years. Now he was singing lullabies to a puppy. She's healing him, Emily said softly. They're healing each other, David corrected. Everything felt perfect. Tomorrow, they'd bring Hope home. Start their new life. The miracle would continue. None of them noticed Sarah's phone lighting up in the corner. A news alert scrolling across the screen, viral video, anonymous source leaks security footage of alleged animal abuser, public demands arrest. Or the fact that Jessica Parker hadn't gone home. She was parked outside Robert Miller's ranch, watching the lights in his windows. Waiting, Jessica found Robert Miller on his front porch at dawn, a bottle of whiskey at his feet. He looked like he'd been there all night. The ranch was falling apart, peeling paint, broken fence posts. The kind of decay that happens when someone stops caring whether they live or die. Miller saw her truck pull up but didn't move, just took another drink. Jessica cut the engine and walked toward him, boots crunching on frozen gravel. She pulled the fabric scrap from her pocket, the piece with his name embroidered on it. You're Robert Miller? It wasn't a question. He stared at the fabric, then at her face. You're the one who found her. Her name is Hope. Miller flinched like she'd struck him. That was my wife's middle name. Margaret Hope Miller. His voice cracked. I gave it to the dog after Margaret died. Thought it might. He trailed off. Took another drink. Jessica's hand moved to her jacket pocket where her phone was recording. One confession. That's all she needed. Tell me what you did. Miller set down the bottle. His hands were shaking. What do you want me to say? That I beat her, left her in the woods to die? I did all of it. Why? Because I'm a goddamn coward. He laughed bitterly. 30 years in the Army, 2 tours in Afghanistan, Purple Heart for taking shrapnel saving my unit. And I come home and become the kind of man who kicks a pregnant dog. That doesn't answer why. Miller stood, swayed slightly. You want the truth? Fine. My wife died 2 years ago. Cancer. I was holding her hand when she went, and the last thing she said was, "Take care of Hope." She meant the dog. Margaret loved that dog more than she loved me. Probably. He walked to the porch railing, gripped it hard. I tried. I fed her, walked her. But every time I looked at that dog, I saw Margaret dying. Over and over. Then Hope got pregnant, some stray got to her while I wasn't watching, and I just snapped. So you tortured her? I didn't mean to. He turned, and Jessica saw tears streaming down his weathered face. The first time I hit her, I told myself it was discipline. She'd knocked over Margaret's urn. I lost it. Hit her with my belt. Then I saw what I'd done, and I was so ashamed I hit her again. To make her stop looking at me like that. Like what? Like she forgave me. Like she understood. Miller wiped his face roughly. That made it worse. So I kept... His voice broke completely. I kept hurting her because I couldn't stand that she still trusted me. Jessica felt sick. Her finger hovered over the phone's stop button. The night I left her in the woods, she was whimpering, pregnant and scared, and I just wanted her to stop reminding me of Margaret. I told myself I'd come back in the morning. Check the trap, but I didn't. I got drunk instead. And when I finally went looking 3 days later, she was gone. I thought she'd died. Part of me hoped she had, so I wouldn't have to face what I'd done. You set that Conibear trap. For bears. They'd been getting into my trash. I set it near the creek and forgot about it. He met her eyes. But yes, it's my fault, all of it. Every scar, every broken bone. That's on me. Jessica pulled out her phone, fingers tight around it. The recording had everything. Full confession. She could send it to Sheriff Brady right now. Miller would be arrested within the hour. But then he said something that stopped her cold. I know who you are. Officer Parker. She went still. What? I read about you in the papers 5 years ago. Your husband nearly beat you to death. Your dog Bella. Wasn't it saved your life? And your husband shot her for it. Jessica's blood turned to ice. How do you... Because I was him. Miller's voice dropped to a whisper. Not your husband. But I know what it's like to hurt something you love, because you're too broken to stop yourself. I know what it's like to wake up and realize you've become the monster. Don't you dare compare. The difference between me and your ex-husband, Miller interrupted, is that I didn't kill Hope. You saved her before I could. But we're the same. Officer Parker. We're both men who destroyed innocent things because we were in pain. Jessica's hand shook. The phone almost slipped from her grip. My ex-husband never felt remorse, she said quietly. You know how I know, because he came to the hospital after Bella died, looked me in the eye and said she deserved it. That I deserved it. That if I left him, he'd find me and finish the job. And did you leave him? Yes. Then you're braver than me. Because I never left my shame. I just fed it whiskey and let it turn me into this. Miller gestured at himself, at his ruined ranch, at the life he'd let collapse. So go ahead. Arrest me. God knows I deserve it. Jessica looked at the phone in her hand. at the recording that would put Miller away. She thought of Bella, of how she'd failed to save her. She thought of hope, of how she'd succeeded this time. And she thought of the question that had haunted her for 5 years if her ex-husband had shown remorse. Real remorse. Would she have found a way to forgive him? She'd never know, because he hadn't. But Miller had. "I'm not going to arrest you," Jessica said slowly. Miller's eyes widened. "What? You're going to do something else. You're going to come to the hospital. You're going to look Hope in the eye. And you're going to apologize. Let her decide if you deserve forgiveness. And if she doesn't forgive me, then you turn yourself in. Face the consequences like a man instead of a drunk coward hiding on a dying ranch." Miller stared at her for a long moment, then nodded. "Okay." Jessica turned to leave, then paused. She pulled out her phone and, thumb hovering over the recording file, pressed delete. "What are you doing?" Miller asked. "Giving you a chance. Don't waste it." She walked back to her truck, hands still shaking. She didn't see the man watching from behind the barn. Marcus Webb, Miller's neighbor, phone in hand, recording everything. She didn't see Webb smile as he uploaded the video to a burner email account with the subject line, "Rescue dog's abuser caught on tape. Officer covers it up." She didn't know that within 3 hours, the video would be on every social media platform, or that by nightfall, her career would be over. Jessica drove away from Pine Valley Ranch believing she'd done the right thing, believing that mercy was stronger than justice, believing that giving a broken man a chance at redemption was worth the risk. She had no idea she'd just destroyed everything. Her phone rang as she pulled onto the highway. Sheriff Brady's name flashed on the screen. She answered, "Hey, Tom, Tell me you didn't do what I think you did." His voice was ice. "What are you talking about?" "Turn on the news, Jessica, right now." She pulled over, opened her phone's browser, and saw the headline, "Breaking Rescue Officer Lets Animal Abuser Walk Free, Caught on Video." The video was everywhere. Miller's confession, her decision not to arrest him, the deleted recording. But the footage had been edited, cut, manipulated to make it look like she was protecting Miller, like they were old friends, like she was corrupt. The comment section was a nightmare. "Fire her immediately. She's as bad as the abuser." How much did he pay her? This is why people don't trust cops. Jessica's phone exploded with notifications, hundreds per minute, thousands. Brady's voice came through the speaker. "Get to my office, now. Internal Affairs is already on their way." The line went dead. Jessica sat in her truck on the side of the road, watching her life unravel in real time. She'd saved Hope's life. She'd given Miller a chance at redemption. And somehow, that had made her the villain. Her phone buzzed again. An email from Aspen Wildlife Rescue, effective immediately. "Officer Parker is suspended pending investigation into ethical violations. All scheduled rescues have been reassigned." Then another email. "From the hospital, Hope and her puppies are ready for discharge. The Johnson family will be taking custody tomorrow." Jessica should have felt relief. Hope was safe. The puppies were healthy. Everything had worked out. Instead, she felt the walls closing in. She'd lost Bella to violence. Now she was losing everything else to mercy. Sheriff Brady's office was cold. Fluorescent lights hummed overhead as Jessica sat across from Internal Affairs investigators. Two stone-faced men in suits who looked at her like she'd committed murder. "Let me get this straight," the senior investigator said, flipping through his notes. "You had a full confession from Robert Miller on tape, and you deleted it." "I was giving him a chance to what? To flee, to destroy evidence, Officer Parker. You obstructed justice. I was trying to. You were trying to play God." The investigator leaned forward. "That's not your job. Your job is to enforce the law, which you failed to do." Brady sat in the corner, arms crossed, saying nothing. His silence hurt worse than the accusation. "Officer Parker, you're terminated effective immediately. Badge and weapon. Now." Jessica's hands shook as she unclipped her badge. 5 years with wildlife rescue. Hundreds of animals saved. It all came down to this moment, sliding a piece of metal across a desk. "You can appeal," the investigator added, standing, "but with video evidence of you letting a confessed abuser walk free. I wouldn't waste your time." They left. Jessica sat alone with Brady. "Tom, I was trying to do the right thing." "The right thing was to arrest him, Jess. Jesus Christ. What were you thinking?" Brady finally looked at her, and she saw disappointment in his eyes. That was worse than anger. "You're one of the best officers I've ever worked with, and you threw it all away for what? A guilty old man's sob story." "You didn't hear him. The remorse was real. I don't care if he cried blood. Jessica, he tortured a pregnant dog and you let him walk." Brady stood, opened the door for her. "Clean out your locker. Don't come back." Jessica drove home in a daze. Her phone wouldn't stop buzzing. Death threats, hundreds of them. "Hope someone tortures your dog. See how you like it. You deserve what your husband did to you. Kill yourself, pig." She pulled into her driveway and stopped cold. Spray paint covered her garage door, animal abuser defender. Her mailbox had been smashed. Her flower beds trampled. Someone had thrown eggs at her windows. She sat in her truck, staring at the vandalism, and felt nothing, just emptiness. Her phone rang. Unknown number. She almost didn't answer. "Officer Parker," a woman's voice, shaking. "This is Emily Johnson. We need to talk. Something's happened." That same morning. Robert Miller turned himself into Aspen County Sheriff's Department. He walked through the doors, sober, showered, wearing his old Army dress uniform. He requested no lawyer. "I'm here to confess to animal cruelty and abandonment," he told the desk sergeant. "I left a pregnant German shepherd in the wilderness to die. I accept full responsibility." The arrest made headlines within minutes, but so did the charges. Colorado law classified animal abandonment as a misdemeanor. Even with the abuse evidence, the prosecutor's office determined they could only pursue Class 1 misdemeanor animal cruelty, maximum 18 months jail, $5,000 or fine, illegal trapping, additional $1,000 fine, confiscation of equipment. Miller's attorney, a public defender assigned by the court, built his defense around PTSD, grief, and immediate remorse. They brought in Miller's military records, character witnesses, a psychologist who testified about complicated grief disorder. The judge, a 72-year-old veteran himself, showed sympathy. Sentenced $6,000 in fines. 400 hours community service at an animal shelter, mandatory counseling, 5-year ban on pet ownership, and 6 months in county jail suspended pending successful completion of probation. No prison time. The courtroom erupted. Outside, Protesters screamed for justice. The video of the sentencing went viral instantly, condensed into a 15-second clip. Man tortures pregnant dog, gets 0 jail time. By evening, the outrage had reached fever pitch. And it found a new target, the Johnson family. Why would they adopt his victim? Online commenters demanded. They're profiting from tragedy. They're probably friends with Miller. This whole thing is a cover-up. They're all in on it together. The logic was insane. But mob mentality didn't care about logic. That night, someone threw a brick through the Johnsons' living room window. The note attached read, "Send hope to a real family." David called the police. They came, took a report, said there was nothing they could do without witnesses. The next morning, more vandalism. Trash dumped on their lawn, their car tires slashed. Sarah stopped going to school after someone spray-painted animal abuse supporter on her locker. Tommy refused to leave Hope's side. He'd moved into the garage where they'd set up Hope's recovery area, sleeping on a cot beside her bed. Hope couldn't climb stairs yet. Couldn't navigate the house on 3 legs, so the garage had become their world. Emily found him there at 2 a.m., sitting with Luna curled in his lap, Hope's head resting on his knee. "Mom, are we bad people?" Tommy asked. For taking her, Emily knelt beside him, fighting tears. "No, baby, we're not." "Then why is everyone so mad at us?" She had no answer. The breaking point came 3 days later. David was leaving for work when he found the message spray-painted across their garage door. 24 hours, give up the dog or we'll take her. He called Emily immediately. "Pack bags, we're leaving." "Leaving where?" "I don't care. A hotel. My brother's place in Utah. Anywhere but here." "David, we can't just abandon." "We're not abandoning anyone. We're taking Hope with us. And the puppies. But we cannot stay in this house while people are threatening our children." Sarah was already packing. Tommy refused to move. "I'm not leaving Hope," he said flatly. "We're taking her with us." Emily assured him. "What about Max and Luna? What about the other puppies? What if those people come here and hurt them?" David knelt in front of his son. "The other puppies are with Jessica and Dr. Martinez. They're safe." "How do you know? How do you know they won't find them too?" He didn't know. None of them knew. Emily's phone rang. Jessica Parker's name on the screen. She answered on speaker. "Emily, I need you to listen carefully." Jessica's voice was strained. "Marcus Webb, Miller's neighbor who leaked the video, just posted your home address online, along with Dr. Martinez's clinic address. And my home address." "No. Why would he?" "Because people are offering money for anyone who can rescue Hope from you. They think you're unfit to care for her, that you're part of some conspiracy with Miller." Emily felt the room tilt. That's insane. Insane doesn't matter anymore. What matters is you're in danger. Your family, Hope, all of you. "What do we do?" A long pause. Then, "I have an idea. But you're not going to like it. Tell me, we make this public, all of us. You, me, Dr. Martinez, even Miller. We do a press conference. We tell the whole story, the real story. We put faces to the names. Make them see we're human beings, not villains in some internet morality play. That'll just make it worse." David said, "Give them more ammunition." "Maybe," Jessica admitted. "Or maybe the truth will cut through the noise. Maybe if they see Hope, alive and healing and loved, they'll remember why they were angry in the first place, not at us." at what happened to her. Emily looked at Tommy, still holding Luna, at Sarah, tears streaming down her face, at David, looking 10 years older than he had a week ago, at Hope, watching all of them with those intelligent, knowing eyes. If we do this, Emily said slowly, and it goes wrong if it puts Hope in more danger, then we'll have made things worse, Jessica finished. But if we don't do anything, Webb and his mob will hunt you down anyway. At least this way. We control the narrative. Emily closed her eyes, thought of Hope standing on 3 legs, falling, getting back up, falling again, never quitting. Okay, she said. We'll do it. Tomorrow. Aspen Valley Hospital. Noon, I'll arrange everything. Jessica hung up. The Johnson family sat in their vandalized home, with their traumatized children and their 3-legged dog and 5 tiny puppies, and realized they were about to bet everything on a press conference. Either the truth would save them, or it would destroy them completely. The morning of the press conference, Emily couldn't eat. She stood at the kitchen counter, coffee growing cold in her hands, staring at the speech Jessica had helped her write. It was 3 pages. Facts, timeline, emotional appeals, carefully crafted to humanize them, to reframe the narrative. It felt like a suicide note. You don't have to do this, David said quietly. He'd been up all night researching witness protection programs, relocation assistance, anything that would get them out of Colorado without burning their lives to the ground. Yes, I do. If this goes wrong, if they twist your words, if the mob gets worse, we won't be able to take it back. She knew. God, she knew. Sarah appeared in the doorway, dressed in the conservative blue dress Jessica had suggested. Make you look sympathetic, Jessica had said. Trustworthy. I look like I'm going to a funeral. Sarah said now, maybe we are. Emily replied before she could stop herself. Tommy was in the garage with Hope. He'd been there since 5 a.m., hadn't come in for breakfast. Emily found him sitting cross-legged on the floor, all 5 puppies arranged in a circle around him. Hope lay beside him, her head in his lap. Tommy, we need to get ready. I don't want to go. His voice was small, younger than 12. What if they try to take her? What if we say the wrong thing and they come after her? Emily sat down beside him. Then we'll protect her. How we couldn't even protect our house. She had no answer for that. Hope lifted her head, looked at Emily with those deep brown eyes, and did something she'd never done before she placed her paw on Emily's knee. The gesture was so deliberate, so human, that Emily caught her breath. She trusts you, Tommy whispered. After everything people did to her, she still trusts you. That means something, doesn't it? Emily looked at Hope at her scars, her missing leg, her swollen belly that had carried 5 lives through unimaginable trauma. This dog had every reason to hate humans, to fear them, to give up. But she hadn't. Yeah, Emily said, voice breaking. It means everything. At 10 a.m., Jessica arrived with Dr. Martinez. They looked as exhausted as Emily felt. The press is already setting up, Jessica said. Local news, national outlets, at least 50 reporters. This is going to be big. That's what we want, right? David asked. That's what we need, Jessica corrected. Want has nothing to do with it. Dr. Martinez pulled Emily aside. I need to tell you something. Robert Miller called me this morning. Emily's stomach dropped. What did he say? He wants to be part of the press conference. He wants to stand beside you and publicly apologize to Hope, to all of you. Absolutely not, David said immediately. That man is the reason we're in this mess. He's also the only one who can end it. Martinez interrupted. Think about it. Right now, the mob sees you as enablers. They see Jessica as corrupt. They see me as complicit. But if Miller himself stands up and takes full responsibility, if he looks into the cameras and says, you saved Hope, not him, it changes the narrative. Or it makes it worse, Sarah said. What if they attack him? What if it turns violent? It might, Jessica admitted. But right now, we're fighting a story. Stories are hard to kill. But if Miller tells the truth, the whole truth, including his shame and his guilt, it might be enough to make people remember that this was never about us. It was about Hope. Emily looked at her family. David, jaw clenched, clearly against it. Sarah, terrified but trying to be brave. Tommy, holding Luna like a lifeline. What does Hope need? Emily asked quietly. What? Jessica blinked. Not what we need, not what's safest or smartest. What does Hope need? They all turned to look at the dog. Hope stood on 3 legs, unsteady but determined, watching them with that same calm intelligence she'd shown from the beginning. She needs closure, Tommy said suddenly. Everyone looked at him. She needs to see him apologize. She needs to know she's safe now, that he can't hurt her again. Tommy, she's a dog. David started. She knows, Dad. Tommy's voice was fierce. She knows everything. Look at her. She's been waiting. Emily looked. And damn if Tommy wasn't right. There was something expectant in Hope's posture, something unfinished. Call Miller, Emily said to Martinez. Tell him to be here at 11:30, but he faces Hope first, before any cameras, just him and her. If she can't be in the same room with him, the answer is no. Martinez nodded and stepped outside to make the call. Jessica pulled out her notes. Okay, if we're doing this, we're doing it right, Emily. You speak first. Keep it simple who you are, how you found Hope, why you're here. Then I explain my decisions as a rescue officer, take responsibility for any mistakes. Then Martinez discusses Hope's medical condition, her recovery, and finally, Miller. What if he breaks down? Sarah asked. What if he can't get through it? Then we all look more human, Jessica said, which is the point. At 11:15, a pickup truck pulled into the hospital parking lot. Robert Miller climbed out, wearing a simple shirt and jeans, no uniform this time. He looked smaller somehow, older. He walked toward the building where they waited, and Emily saw his hands shaking. Dr. Martinez met him at the door. She's in the recovery room. Are you ready? Miller took a breath. No, but I'm doing it anyway. They led him inside. The Johnson family stayed in the hallway, watching through the window. Hope was lying on her bed. When Miller appeared in the doorway, she went rigid, her ears flattened. A low growl started in her chest. Miller stopped 5 feet away. He didn't approach, didn't try to touch her. He just knelt down, slowly until he was at her level. Hope, he said, voice cracking. I don't expect you to forgive me. I don't deserve forgiveness. I just need you to know. He stopped, wiped his eyes. I'm sorry. For all of it. For every scar, for every moment of fear. You deserved love, and I gave you pain. And I will spend the rest of my life trying to be worthy of the second chance you've given me by surviving. Hope's growl faded. She watched him with those intelligent eyes, assessing. Miller reached into his pocket, pulled out a worn photo. This was Margaret, my wife. She loved you more than anything, and I betrayed you both. I betrayed her memory by hurting you. I betrayed your trust by... His voice broke completely. I'm so goddamn sorry. He set the photo on the floor between them and stood to leave. Hope moved. Three-legged, awkward. She stood and limped toward him. Miller froze, terrified. Hope reached the photo, sniffed it, then looked up at Miller and licked his hand. Once, deliberately, then turned and limped back to her bed. In the hallway, Tommy was crying. She forgave him. Maybe, Emily said softly. Or maybe she just decided he wasn't worth hating anymore. Jessica checked her watch. It's time. They gathered in the hospital lobby. Through the windows, Emily could see the crowd, reporters, cameras, protesters holding signs both for and against them. Police barriers holding back the mob. This was it. The moment that would either save them or destroy them. Emily looked at her family one last time. At Jessica. Career already ruined. At Martinez, reputation on the line. At Miller, shoulders squared despite his shame. And at Hope, being wheeled out by a vet tech. Puppies in a carrier beside her. Ready? Jessica asked. No one was ready. But they nodded anyway. The hospital doors opened. The cameras flashed like lightning. And they stepped into the storm. The crowd was larger than Emily had imagined. 200 people, maybe more, pressed against police barriers. Some held signs supporting Hope. Others screamed obscenities. A makeshift podium had been set up on the hospital steps. Microphones bristled like porcupine quills. Camera lenses caught every angle. Emily approached the microphones, legs shaking. Jessica stood to her left, Dr. Martinez to her right. Miller hung back, barely visible. Hope's carrier sat at the base of the podium, visible to everyone. The puppies squirmed inside, oblivious to the chaos. Emily cleared her throat. The crowd noise didn't diminish. My name is Emily Johnson, she began. Her voice cracked. 10 days ago. My son found a dog dying in the snow. Someone shouted, "You're protecting her abuser." Police moved toward the heckler. Emily raised her hand. Please, let me finish. The crowd settled into hostile silence. We didn't know who she belonged to. We didn't know what had happened to her. We just knew she was dying, and she was pregnant, and she needed help. Emily's voice strengthened. My family has been threatened. Our home vandalized. My children terrified. But we're not here to ask for your sympathy. She looked down at Hope. We're here for her, because she deserves to have her story told. The real story, not the one you've been fed online. The real story is you're letting a monster walk free. Another voice from the crowd. Emily nodded. You're right to be angry. I'm angry too. What happened to Hope is unforgivable. But being angry at the wrong people won't heal her. It won't prevent the next dog from being abused. It just makes more victims. She stepped back. Jessica moved to the microphones. My name is Jessica Parker. I'm the rescue officer who was fired for not arresting Robert Miller immediately. Her voice was steady, professional. I made a choice that day. I chose to believe in redemption over retribution. Some of you think that makes me corrupt. Maybe you're right. Murmurs rippled through the crowd. But I'll tell you what I saw when I looked at Hope. I saw my own dog, Bella, who died saving my life from my abusive ex-husband. I saw a chance to break a cycle of violence instead of perpetuating it. You saw a payoff. Someone screamed. How much did Miller give you? Jessica's composure cracked for a second. Then, nothing. He gave me nothing except a chance to prove that mercy is stronger than revenge. And maybe I was wrong. Maybe I deserve to be fired. But Hope is alive. Her puppies are alive. And if losing my career is the price for that, I'll pay it gladly. She stepped back, eyes glistening. Dr. Martinez approached the microphones next. I'm Richard Martinez, the veterinarian who performed Hope's surgery. I'm here to tell you about miracles. He pulled up photos on a tablet, projected onto a screen behind him. Hope on the operating table. Her mangled leg. The 6 puppies in utero 1 clearly deceased. This dog survived catastrophic trauma, amputation, emergency C-section, massive blood loss. Her survival rate was 5%, but she lived. Do you want to know why? The crowd had gone quiet, watching the images. Because she refused to die before her puppies were safe. We lost her twice on that table, full cardiac arrest, and both times, the moment we stabilized the puppies, her heart started again. I've been a surgeon for 30 years, and I have never seen determination like that. He looked at Hope's carrier. This dog is a fighter. She survived the worst humans can do. And now you're making her survival about your anger, about your need for vengeance. But Hope doesn't need your vengeance. She needs safety, love, peace. And that's what the Johnsons are giving her. Martinez stepped back. Miller came forward. The crowd erupted. Boos, shouts. Someone threw a plastic water bottle that bounced off the podium. Police tightened their line. Miller stood at the microphones, visibly trembling. For a long moment, he couldn't speak. Then, my name is Robert Miller, and I am the man who did this to Hope. The crowd surged forward. Officers pushed back. I beat her, burned her, starved her. And when she became pregnant, I threw her away like trash. I am guilty of everything you think I am. Then why aren't you in jail? Someone screamed, because our legal system determined that what I did, horrible as it was, constitutes a misdemeanor under Colorado law. But make no mistake, I deserve worse. I deserve your hatred. I deserve to lose everything. His voice broke. But the Johnsons don't. Jessica Parker doesn't. Dr. Martinez doesn't. They are heroes. They saved a life I tried to destroy. This is bullshit. A man in the front row, Emily recognized him from the photos. Marcus Webb, Miller's neighbor, the one who'd leaked the video. Webb ducked under the police barrier. You people are being conned. This whole thing is staged. Miller probably hurt that dog on purpose so his friends could play savior. That's insane, Jessica said. Is it? Webb pulled out his phone, held it up. I've got evidence. Photos of Miller and Martinez together. From 6 months ago. They know each other. Martinez went pale. We served together in the Army 20 years ago. We haven't spoken since. Lies. Webb was getting closer to the podium. This whole thing is a setup. The dog is probably not even the same dog. The crowd's energy shifted. Doubt crept into their expressions. Emily felt everything slipping away. Then Tommy stepped forward. "Stop lying about Hope." His voice was quiet, but the microphone caught it. The crowd went silent, startled by the child. Tommy knelt beside Hope's carrier, opened it carefully. Hope limped out on 3 legs, puppies tumbling after her. "This is Hope," Tommy said, louder now. "These are her scars." He gently moved her fur, showing the burns, the whip marks. Cameras zoomed in. "These are her babies. Max, Luna," and the 3 others wobbled on puppy legs, nursing at their mother. Hope sat beside Tommy, calm despite the chaos, and looked out at the crowd. The image was devastating. A 3-legged mother dog and 5 tiny puppies and a 12-year-old boy who'd barely spoken to strangers in years, all standing together against a mob. Several reporters were openly crying, but Marcus Webb wasn't done. "That proves nothing." He broke through the police line completely now, running toward the podium. "You people are idiots. You're being manipulated." He reached for Hope. Tommy threw himself in front of her. "Don't touch her." Webb grabbed Tommy's arm, yanking him aside. Hope lunged, 3 legs, still weak from surgery, but she moved like lightning. Her jaws clamped onto Webb's wrist, not biting, just holding, and she growled, low and primal. Webb screamed, tried to shake her off. Police swarmed in the chaos. One of the puppies, Luna, tumbled off the podium edge, toward the street, where a news van was backing up. Tommy saw it happen in slow motion. Luna rolling, the van's reverse lights, the driver not looking. He didn't think. He dove off the 4-foot podium, hitting the pavement hard, and scooped Luna up just as the van's tire passed inches from his head. Emily screamed. The van stopped. Tommy lay on the asphalt, motionless. Luna cradled against his chest. The crowd went silent. Hope broke free from police, limped to the edge of the podium, and howled a sound of pure anguish that cut through every camera, every microphone, every hardened heart in that crowd. Tommy wasn't moving. Emily reached Tommy in seconds, dropping to her knees on the asphalt. "Baby, talk to me." Tommy's eyes opened. He was winded. The fall had knocked the breath from his lungs, but he was conscious, alive. "Luna," he gasped. "Is she?" The puppy squirmed in his arms, unharmed, confused by the commotion. "She's fine. You're both fine." Emily pulled him into her arms, sobbing. David and Sarah crashed around them, a protective circle. Hope limped down the podium steps. Someone tried to stop her, but she wouldn't be stopped and pushed her way through the family huddle until her nose touched Tommy's face. She licked him once, twice, then gently took Luna from his arms with her mouth, carrying the puppy back to the safety of the carrier. The crowd watched in absolute silence. Then, spontaneously, someone started clapping. It spread like wildfire. Within seconds, 200 people were applauding. Some were crying. The reporters captured every moment. Marcus Webb stood frozen, still held by 2 police officers, watching his narrative crumble in real time. Sheriff Brady pushed through the crowd. "Marcus Webb, you're under arrest for assault on a minor and disruption of a lawful assembly." "I was trying to expose the truth," Webb shouted. "You were trying to create a truth that didn't exist," Brady said, snapping handcuffs on. "Turns out those photos you claimed showed Martinez and Miller conspiring. We ran them through metadata analysis. They were taken at a military reunion 15 years ago. You knew that. You cropped out the context and lied." I was protecting that dog. You were protecting your property dispute with Miller. This was never about Hope. It was about revenge. As officers led Webb away, he was still screaming, "You're all blind, they're manipulating you." But no one was listening anymore. A woman in the front row 50s, wearing a Justice for Hope t-shirt, stepped forward tentatively. Can I see her Hope?" Emily looked at Jessica, who nodded. "Yes," slowly, "and she gets to decide if she wants to be touched." The woman approached the carrier. Hope watched her carefully. The woman knelt, extended her hand. Let Hope sniff it. "I'm sorry," the woman whispered. "I was angry at the wrong people. I just wanted someone to pay for what happened to you." Hope considered her for a long moment, then licked her hand. The woman broke down crying. One by one, others approached. Not everyone, some left. Still unconvinced, still angry. But enough. Enough to shift the energy from mob to vigil. They didn't just want to see Hope. They wanted to apologize. To the Johnsons, to Jessica, to Martinez. "I tweeted that you should lose your kids," one man admitted to Emily, ashamed. "I didn't think I just saw the headlines, and I assumed." "We all assume," Emily said quietly. "That's the problem." A reporter from a national network approached Jessica. "Officer Parker, in light of what we've witnessed today, Tommy Johnson risking his life to save Hope's puppy. Hope protecting Tommy, do you regret your decision to give Robert Miller a chance at redemption?" Jessica looked at Miller, still standing awkwardly at the edge of the podium. "No," she said firmly. "Because that decision led to this moment. If I'd arrested him immediately, we wouldn't be here. You wouldn't have seen Tommy and Hope's bond. You wouldn't have heard the real story. Sometimes justice isn't about punishment. It's about transformation." But Miller got away with a misdemeanor. Miller will spend the rest of his life working at animal shelters, facing what he did every single day. He'll never own a pet again. He'll be known forever as the man who hurt Hope. That's not getting away with anything. That's a different kind of sentence. Miller stepped forward, voice hoarse. "I asked the court if I could donate my military pension to animal rescue organizations. They approved it. Every cent I get for the rest of my life goes to helping animals. It won't fix what I did, but it's what Margaret would have wanted." He looked at Hope one last time. "Thank you for being stronger than I was." Then he turned and walked away, through the crowd that parted silently for him. He got into his truck and drove off. Emily never saw him again. 3 weeks later, the Johnson family brought Hope home. The media circus had moved on to the next outrage. The death threats stopped. The vandalism ended. Life, slowly, painfully, started to feel normal again. Hope adapted to 3 legs faster than anyone expected. She learned to navigate stairs, to run lopsided but determined, to play with her puppies in the backyard. Tommy transformed. The boy who'd barely spoken to anyone outside his family now volunteered at Dr. Martinez's clinic every weekend, helping other traumatized animals recover. He'd found his voice by helping those who had none. Sarah started a social media campaign, "Think Before You Type Hope's Story." It went viral in a different way, not with outrage, but with reflection. She spoke at schools about mob mentality, about the damage of rushing to judgment. David and Emily adopted Max and Luna officially. The other 3 puppies went to their chosen families, 2 with Jessica, 1 with Dr. Martinez. Jessica got a job offer from a national animal rescue organization. Better pay, better benefits, and a mission statement that valued compassion over protocol. She took it. Dr. Martinez wrote a paper on Hope's surgery for a veterinary journal. It became required reading in vet schools across the country. Marcus Webb was convicted of assault and fraud, 6 months in jail, 2 years probation. His property dispute with Miller was dismissed as frivolous. He lost everything he'd tried to protect. But the real transformation happened quietly, in a suburban Colorado home, in moments no camera ever captured. Hope sleeping at the foot of Tommy's bed. Luna curled against her side. Emily watching her son read aloud to the dogs, his voice confident and clear. Sarah posting photos of Hope's progress with captions like, 3 legs, infinite courage. David building a ramp so Hope could access the back deck without struggling. The annual checkup at Dr. Martinez's clinic, where Hope wagged her tail at the sight of him, the man who'd saved her life. And once, just once, a package arriving at the Johnson home with no return address. Inside a hand-carved wooden box with Hope burned into the lid. Nestled in tissue paper was the photo of Margaret Miller that Robert had shown Hope that day. A note in shaky handwriting. She would want Hope to have this, to remember that she was loved once before everything went wrong. Thank you for loving her now. Ahem. Emily put the photo on the mantel, where Hope could see it. The dog sat and stared at it for a long time, tail wagging slowly, as if remembering something good from before the darkness. Then she turned, limped to Tommy, and laid her head in his lap. The past was the past. This was home now, 1 year later. The Johnson family hosted their first annual Hope Day reunion. All 6 puppies, now full-grown dogs, gathered in their backyard with their families. Hope sat in the center, older now, grayer around the muzzle, watching her children play. Tommy, 13 now and volunteering at 3 different animal shelters, stood beside his mother. Mom, do you ever think about that day when everyone thought we were the bad guys? Emily pulled him close. Every day. It taught me something important. What? That gratitude isn't just about being thankful for what you have. It's about fighting for it when the world tries to take it away. We could have given up Hope to satisfy the mob. We could have run, but we stayed. We fought, because family, real family, isn't about blood or species. It's about who you'd risk everything to protect. Hope limped over, rested her head against Emily's leg. And she taught us that forgiveness isn't weakness. Emily continued. It's the strongest thing you can do. She forgave Miller. She forgave all of us for being human and flawed. And that changed everything. Tommy knelt, hugged Hope tight. She saved us as much as we saved her. That's what family does. Now I want to ask you, have you ever been wrongly accused or misjudged like the Johnsons were? How did you find the strength to keep fighting for what was right?